Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. How are we all feeling? Very grey, quite wet here, not very nice. But we'll just wait for a minute because I know that StreamYard takes a while for anything to sort of come through. So, how is everybody? Friday again, here we go. How lovely to see everybody. So it's 4th of December. How did we get there? God knows. Honestly, I have no idea. What's everybody planning for their staff parties? Are they having staff parties? Are we having virtual parties? What are we doing? I'm going to organise the people that I do all my outsourcing with. We're going to have a virtual party. We're going to have bubbly. We're going to have balloons. We're going to have music. We're going to have dancing. We're going to have all sorts, as though it was a normal staff party. And actually, to be quite honest with you, I haven't had a staff party for 20 years. I've been included in staff parties with other people, with other clients and things like that, but I haven't actually had one for 20 years. So this is going to be a first for me, and I'm quite excited about it, to be quite honest with you. So as a lot of you know, I am training to become a Profit First professional through Mike Michalowicz company, as per the book, Profit First. And in order to do that, I have to do an enormous amount of work, actually, a huge amount of work, but it's great. It's really, really exciting work. And because I've already implemented Profit First in my business and in quite a lot of clients' businesses, it's all good. Say hi, anybody who's come on, because I can't see who you are at the moment, or if you've got any comments or anything like that. Oh, Denise, you're here. Hello, my darling. How's your motivation this week? Is it better? I hope it is. Yeah, one of the things that we've been learning about doing the Profit First Professional is it's about profit, funnily enough. Would you believe it? And I've been talking to my clients about this quite a lot. And there's an awful lot of people who don't understand the difference between profit and cash in their businesses. And I thought that perhaps might be a good idea to sort of go back to stage one and start explaining to people what it's all about. I know there's a lot of people who have accountants who might be a little bit scared to talk to them, might be a little bit worried about asking them questions, things like that. Just to let you know that I am here for anybody to ask any questions. Hi, Kate. Lovely to see you. Doesn't matter whether you're my client or you're not my client. I'm quite happy to help anybody that needs help. And if you need something explaining about accounts and you don't even know quite what the question is that you want to ask, then just fire me a message and together we'll work out what the question is and probably, hopefully, what the answer is. And we'll do it in the easiest, simplest possible way. Because I think, well, in my business, definitely, I think we can take for granted the fact that people understand what we're talking about, even though we try and keep the language as layman as possible. We do take for granted that people understand what we're talking about, and more often than not, they don't. And actually, using Zoom recently has it's made a very big difference to me, because you can see when people are glazing over and they're sort of going, you're doing what? What are you talking about? Whereas if you're face to face, they're probably looking down at their notes and things like that, or their figures or whatever it is. And so using Zoom has actually been quite useful as far as that's concerned, I've found anyhow. So I thought that we'd sort of go back to, let's call it stage one, shall we? What profit actually is, how it works, and how it affects you. Because more often than not, when you get your accounts back from your accountant, or you've done your accounts yourself, whichever it is, you look at your profit and loss, and you see this figure at the bottom, and it says, "Oh, you made this much net profit. Aren't you wonderful? Isn't that fantastic?" And a lot of people confuse that with being cash. It's not. All it is an accounting term, is net profit, basically. It doesn't really mean a huge amount as far as what's actually in your pocket. So when we're talking about net profit, it's the best way to explain it is sales are an indicator of the success of your business, but there's more measurement to look at. And net profit is the amount of money that is left after you subtract your total business expenses, but it is not cash. And that is absolutely crucial. It is not cash. It's a calculation that includes all the financial transactions in your business. That's it. It's just not cash, basically. The way to work out your net profit, in case you're not aware of it, is your total revenue, i.e. all of your sales, all the money that you've taken in, minus all of your business expenses. This will equal your net profit. So your business expenses can include your cost of goods sold. It can include your salaries. It can include all your overheads, your light, your heat, your power, your manufacturing costs, your everything, your stationery, your phones, your mileage expenses, the whole boiling lot to get your business running. The costs are then split up as far as overheads are concerned, i.e. what it costs to actually run wherever you're running your business from. So that could be your stationery, your light, your heat, rent, etc. And your cost of goods sold. So that's everything that it costs to actually make or sell your service. So if you are a manufacturing company and you are making products, it's everything that goes into making those products. Every single thing, because without those, you wouldn't be able to make your sales. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If you are a service business, like me, for instance, my costs of goods are my outsourcers, my subcontractors, the people who work for me, because if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to do it. Now, a lot of people argue about, well, hang on, if I didn't have this piece of software, then I wouldn't be able to run my business. That's true, but the software is a slightly different issue because sometimes you use it for other things, etc. But if you have actually got items that are used for making your products or whatever it is that you're selling, then those would be your cost of goods sales. And if you have your top revenue, your total revenue, less your cost of goods sold, this gives you your gross profit. And your gross profit is before all of your overheads. Your gross profit is a very, very important figure because this will tell you what your gross profit percentage is. And when you're looking at your 7 most important numbers, one of the most important numbers is your gross profit percentage. And if you can increase that, then you can really start to make some serious profit. And that is what it's all about. Increasing your revenue is hugely important, as we all know, because if you don't increase your revenue, you're not going to increase anything. But if you increase your revenue, you've got to work out, if I take on another client, I'm going to need my outsourcer to do more work. So therefore, that's going to cost me more. So therefore, my gross profit is actually probably going to remain, roughly speaking, the same as my revenue, which isn't any use. That doesn't increase my profit. It increased my revenue, great, but it doesn't increase my profit, what's going into my pocket. The only way to increase that is to increase your revenue in order that you don't have to increase your gross profit, but also in order that you don't have to increase your operating expenses, your overheads. If you don't increase your overheads, that's when you start to make some profit. So is there a way that you can cut down on your overheads? Is there anything that you can do? When we're working on the Profit First principle, what we do is we try to get people to cut their expenses by, don't go mad, by 10%. Now, actually, that's not a huge amount of money, honestly. If, say, your expenses are, I don't know, let's say that they're £50,000. Cutting them by 10% isn't a huge amount, but that's what we're aiming for over probably 6 or 8 quarters, something like that. So we cut them down by 1 or 2% each quarter. It's not huge amounts. It really, really is not huge amounts. Again, if you've got £50,000 worth of overheads, that's £500 in a quarter. It's not a lot, and it's actually not that difficult to do. But until you understand what net profit actually means, it's not going to make any sense when I say you've got to cut down your overheads, etc., because most people say, well, everything that goes through my business I need. Well, yeah, does it really? Are you absolutely sure how much is going through that's you personally, and how much is actually really the business, etc.? But to go back to what we were talking to, why is net profit important to you? Because it demonstrates the success of your business. it's more significant number than the revenue, because it can be what's going into your pocket. Now, if you're a sole trader, you're going to be taxed on that net profit. You're not going to be taxed on the drawings, the money that you're taking out, the draws, the I don't like to call it your salary because it's not your salary, but it is your salary, if you sort of see what I mean. But it's your drawings if you're a sole trader, and you're not taxed on that if you're a sole trader. If you are a limited company, then you will be taxed on the net profit through corporation tax, but you personally will be taxed on anything that you're taking out yourself. So whether that's your salary or your dividends, it makes no difference. So if we can get that straight, if you're a sole trader, you'll be taxed on your net profit of your business. But if you are a limited company, you'll be taxed on the net profit through corporation tax, but then you will also have personal tax yourself. I hope that sort of makes sense. So it's incredibly important that we understand what net profit is, so that we can start to set goals. Now, as we're going into 2021 and getting rid of this vile 2020 year, which we've all had enough of, to be quite honest, well, I certainly have, it's a question of setting our goals so that we can really work towards those. So setting your revenue goals is brilliant, that's absolutely fine, but in my eyes, it's setting what your net profit goals are. Now, 3 months ago, every 3 months I set my goals for the next quarter. I don't do it for a whole year ahead, because who the heck knows what's going to happen, especially these days. So 3 months ago, I set my goals for the end of December, and I set revenue goals, but I also set my net profit goals. My revenue goals I have hit, which is fantastic because it's not even the end of December, but my net profit goals, I'm still a little bit away from that, which is not great, and it makes me really, really motivated to want to make sure that I hit those goals by the end of December. So I have to go through my expenses yet again and cut out whatever I possibly can. And quite often there's a bit of a delay when you do this, because if you cut something down, if you've got a subscription or something like that, you've probably got to give 30 days notice or whatever it happens to be. But actually what I'm cut down on more than anything else is my Amazon spends. My Amazon spends have been enormous, and they're all things that I really urgently need. No, I don't. It's because the money was sitting in my operating expenses account. So now the money is no longer sitting in my operating expenses account, which means I haven't got anything to spend. But I have, because it's hidden away in my profit account and my taxes account and my owner's pay account. So I'm actually paying myself more than I was 3 months ago, which is fabulous, but I haven't hit the net profit goal. So what goals can you set for the next quarter? What revenue goals, but what net profit goals can you set? How can you do that? How can you make sure that you hit it? So how can you improve your net profit? First of all is obviously reducing your overheads. This can give you a one-off or even hopefully an ongoing reduction in costs, and it makes an enormous difference. Now, obviously, travel expenses and things like that are a lot less than they were a year ago. But how can you cut down on anything else? I would not suggest cutting down on your staff salaries, whether it's yours or your members of staff, because it's very important to be paying yourself what you deserve. But your phone bills, things like that, your suppliers, could you switch your suppliers? Thank you, Denise. This is what Denise is saying. It is clever stuff, but it's so simple. And this is the thing about business, I think, is that people overcomplicate it. We don't need to overcomplicate it. Business does not have to be complicated. It has to be simple. The simpler that we keep it, the more that we're going to make more of it, the more passion that we're going to have for it, the more we're going to want to do it, etc. So going back to how we can improve our net profit, reducing our overheads is obviously the most important one, because it's key to getting our net profit. Reducing our costs of sales. So our cost of goods sales, so whether we are a manufacturing process or something like that, is there any way that we can go through every single process that we've got, and can we cut it down? If we are selling services like me, is there anything that I can do to cut down the services of my outsourcers that I'm using? Well, no, actually at the moment it's not. but I have been through that just to make absolutely sure. So can we negotiate better prices with our suppliers? Is there anything that we can do? And then obviously increasing our revenue, but then we do have to keep an eye on the gross profit side of things. So for anybody that is interested to do my Profit First Professional, I have to find another 3 beta clients who are going to go through the whole thing with my guides in America. So they're going to do it officially with Mike Michalowicz as well. You don't need to be a client of mine, but I do need to be able to have access to your figures and things like that. If you would be interested in starting Profit First, doesn't cost you a penny for any of these people who are signing up. It is going to be spectacular. It really, really is. The difference it's made to me, to my business, how I run my business, but also how I run my personal finances is massive. Absolutely massive. And by the end of, I'm hoping by the end of today, my new ebook, I've written an ebook, it's going to be available on my website, and you can sign up for that. And it's basically 5 steps to increasing your profit. So have a look at it. I am all about profit. Profit, profit, profit. This is what's so important. If anybody wants any help in working out how to increase their profit, what they can do, they don't have to be clients. I'm here to help anybody I can. This is my mission, is to get it out there. The profit is the most important thing because it makes you feel like you are worth more than you ever thought you were worth before. I think this is just so important. This is what Kate Butcher has to say. I'm loving implementing this in business and personal finance. Kate, I'm so pleased for you. It is just so empowering. And for us, I hate to say this for any men who might be on here, but for us women, it is just so important to take control, to take ownership of our money, of our profit, and start rewarding ourselves. We're all working on fingers to the bone. We're blood, sweat, and tears, and all the rest of it coming out of us. God only knows what's going on. But there's just so much, and we need to reward ourselves. So please, anybody who would like my ebook, Increase Your Profit in 5 steps, 5 steps to increase profit, whatever it happens to be, and anybody who might like to, or knows anyone who might be interested in Profit First, doesn't want to have to pay for it, but gets the one-to-one treatment with me and with the Profit First professionals in America. Bear in mind that when I'm qualified and certified, and my husband says I'm already certified, but never mind. When I'm qualified to do this, the prices are going to whack up. They're going to really, really whack up because I have to. So if you know anybody who might want this, there are 3 more spots for people, for my beta clients, or not even clients, as I say, who would like to implement Profit First into their business. Get back to me as soon as possible because these places are going to go fast and they're being advertised as of today. So guys, I've been on here for way too long for you and I do apologize. Thank you so much for joining me. Anybody who's coming after, who's listened to this on the replay, please put #replay. And thank you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.